Hello from the kitchen. Today is our food share recipe day in the kitchen, and I am excited to introduce my guest. Jackie Harris is with me here today in the kitchen. Hi, Jackie.
Good morning.
Good morning. Well, we are so glad to have you here, and we're going to have a lot of fun today cooking together. But first, I want to hear about you. How did you end up on Hope's board?
Well, our old executive director, Becca Clausen, called me and asked me to be on the board. I was like, really? But, you know, Hope does great work, and I agreed to come on the board. You know, back when I was a teenager, Katey, me and my sister, Maylene, we volunteered at Hope when Hope first opened up. So we have a long history with Hope.
Wow.
Yes.
What did you do when you volunteered?
We stopped when when individuals came in for help. We would prepare the food for them to take back home with them to prepare nutritious meals.
That is
Yes.
fabulous. Wow,
So,
you do have a long history.
Yeah,
with
love
Hope.
it, love it, love it. Love Hope, one of my favorite boards.
And what do you do besides Hope? What's your other hobbies and jobs?
Well, most people say this is kind of funny. You know, sometimes God prepares you for your job. Well, I grew up in foster care. So now I work for the Lancaster Children's Home as a case manager, which is the children's home I lived in for a short period of time.
Wow.
as a young child, me and my sister Maylene.
Wow, that is awesome. Talk about giving back.
Yes,
You
service.
are a definition of giving back.
Most definitely. Service is so important to me because it was so important to who I've become as a person today.
Yes, that is awesome. Awesome story. So we are excited
Yes.
to work from our food share box. This month is fabulous. Look at this. We have cucumbers, spinach, onions, oranges, apples, pineapple, banana, sweet potato. And today we're featuring our pears. Do you like pears?
Yes, I do.
I do too.
Great time of the year.
I really do. And these are our Bartlett pears. There are generally three kinds of pears. There's a Bosch pear. There is a, what's the other pear? Anjou pear. But this is the most common one, and this is a Bartlett. And Bartlett's, about 95% of them are grown on the West Coast.
Wow.
This one is from California. Most of our food share items are local when we can do local, but if not, they come from the best source of produce. But the Bartlett pears are just beautiful pears. They're very sweet, very fibrous, so they make wonderful pairings with cheese or
my
something
favorite.
salty and sweet. Poached pears. A lot of people do poached pears, but today we're going to make a pear crisp, and it is on your recipe card. So we have our recipe card in our box, and it's full of recipes with pears. We talk about cucumbers, we talk about roasted sweet potatoes and spinach. So make sure you take a look at our recipe card, and then one of our partner agencies also has a little information. So you get so much when you get a food share box.
Yes.
You get all kinds of information, you get recipes, and you get top quality food. So don't forget to order your food share box. So on to pear crisp. Now, have you made any kind of crisps?
This will be my first time.
Really?
Yes, that's why I'm so excited. This is my first
Awesome.
time.
Awesome. Well, people generally make apple crisp, which you do have some apples in here too. And they make peach. I've seen a lot of peach cobbler, peach crisp. And so today, pear crisp. So what we've done is our recipe calls for 4 Bartlett pears. We've peeled them already. Jackie's gonna help me cut them up. Okay, so what you're gonna do is we've peeled the pears. If you want to cut those in half, and I'm gonna core them now. These cores are just so easy to use because look at that. You just take out the middle.
I'm gonna have to get one of those.
It's like a melon baller actually, but I use it as a core. And then we're gonna take our pears, and you're gonna keep cutting them into halves. There we go. Take that middle. And cutting them another time. And then we're going to cut them into bite-sized pieces. Whenever I'm cutting up fruits or vegetables to go in a dish, I always think of the bite-sized pieces. Sometimes you know how you get a dish and you get a huge chunk of pear or a huge chunk of apple. So these are going to be your bite-sized pieces. So you want to cut them up kind of the same size. So it takes 4 pears. And once we get those cut up, we're going to put them all in this glass bowl. Alright, so while we are cutting up the last of the pears, Jackie is hard at work cutting them up. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla to our pears. I love vanilla.
Me too. Smell. Oh,
I know it.
makes you think of the holidays.
So that's going to give our pears a little bit more flavor. And if you'll just toss them around in that vanilla. Yum. Alright, and then our next ingredient, we're going to add to our pears 1/4 cup of brown sugar. I'll let you do the honors there. And 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Now this flour, I love King Arthur flour. It's one of my favorite flours, just a really high quality. And this is calling for 2 tablespoons. I'm going to add 1 of each. So I'm going to do the white and the wheat. And I like doing that because it just adds another little health aspect. This isn't, you know, the healthiest recipe, but we are getting a lot of...
It's going to be good.
Yes, it's going to be good. And so I like to divide up the flour where I can. And really, I do this a lot with, you know, even pumpkin bread or zucchini bread. I'll divide up my flours to make it just a little bit healthier with the wheat flour. And we're going to add 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, which is on the far end. Yup. And 1 teaspoon. That teaspoon is sitting right beside it. And then, so it's going to be nice and spicy. Yes. And then the next one, we're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg.
Yeah, you can also use nutmeg in sweet potatoes.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially cinnamon. You know, they love cinnamon and nutmeg in sweet potatoes. I love sweet potatoes.
Me too.
They came in the box too, and there's a great recipe on there for roasting them, because a lot of people just bake them, but I love to roast them. And 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. So, ooh, yummy, look at that.
That looks delicious.
We have our baking dish, and I'm just gonna spray it a little bit with some oil. We've already preheated our oven to 350.
Okay.
So if you'll put the pears into the baking dish, just spread those out. That's gonna be our fruit part. Now we're gonna make kind of the topping of our crisp.
Make sure we get it all. It looks so good.
Yes, and we're gonna use that bowl. We'll just,
One more time.
yeah, we will. You know, I am all about when you got a bowl and it's got the same ingredients in it. Why dirty up another bowl?
I do agree.
So we've got 1 stick of butter. This is going to be our topping for our crisp. We're going to add 1/2 cup of brown sugar.
Okay.
And so it's calling for a 1/2 cup of flour. So I'm just going to do 1/4 of each because I like that mixture. And that'll add up to 1/2 cup of flour. Alright, and then we have another teaspoon of cinnamon in our topping. There we go. And about 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. Alright, and so we need 1/2 cup of oatmeal in our topping.
a healthy part.
Yes, I love oatmeal
Me
in
too.
any kind of topping. It's just, oh, in the crisp toppings, it's awesome. All right, so this is where you might use a pastry cutter, you know, where it cuts into the butter. But you can always use a knife. You can use your fingers. I'm just going to use 2 knives.
The butter is cut up in small enough pieces right now, Katey. We're just going to add it to our pears.
Yep.
All right?
It's going to be our topping. And then we're going to pop that into the oven. And that's going to go 35 to 45 minutes. So you just want to check on it at about 35 minutes. Oh, look at that.
Think about it. We've been watching a couple of those cooking shows on TV.
Oh, I know it. You are doing it, Jackie.
All right.
All right, and into the oven that goes. All right, so it's been in there for about 40 minutes, and it's looking really good, bubbling.
Smelling delicious. I can't
So
wait.
let's pull it out. Here we go.
Ooh, look at there.
Oh,
Oh,
my
my
goodness.
goodness.
Look at the bubbles.
Oh, wow.
Yum. The
Smell-
pears are going to be really soft, and the oatmeal's going to be crunchy, so let's... Oh, we need one other little thing to top this with. Now, usually you serve crisp with a little bit of ice cream, but we're going to make some homemade whipped cream.
All right.
So we're going to make a little bit of whipped cream, and I use a heavy cream. You know what? The tiny chefs love this because it's homemade, you know. We're going to add a tablespoon of sugar. We'll just start with that.
Okay.
And we just whip this up. And what's nice about it doesn't have all the chemicals that... You know, I mean, you can buy the whipped cream at the store, but it just doesn't have all the chemicals.
Yeah.
You do have to use it right away, though.
Okay, so
When
it's
you
not
make-
like you can take it and put it in the refrigerator
Yeah,
for a little while?
It gets flat after a while, but the trick is getting it to where it's nice and fluffy.
Katey, how do you know when you're at the right consistency?
All right,
When
so
you're-
when you start to see it getting thicker and thicker, and the ridges start staying in there, your consistency would be to get peaks.
Okay.
Still got a little bit longer to go, but you want to make sure the thickness can start getting peaks.
Katey, sometimes, you know, during the holidays, it's hard to find whipped cream because it's used so much in like banana puddings and pies and things. So I'm glad I learned that today. So when I can't find it, I can go say I can make my own whipped cream.
Yes, and you can see how we've mixed it enough to where the peaks sit. So that's the point you want. And the nice thing about that is you can add more sugar if you want it sweeter. But if you just want that creaminess on top of the sweet and crunchiness, that makes a great combination.
Okay.
So we're ready to plate our pear crisp, and we're just gonna get a big handful. Ooh, look at that! Steamy.
Yummy.
Oh my goodness, and you can smell all the spices too. Oof. And then we're gonna add a little bit of whipped cream on there. Look at that. You could even sprinkle that if you want with a little bit of cinnamon or something.
Yeah.
So you ready for the
I'm
best
ready.
part of the
I'm
cooking
ready.
show?
Yes.
All right, so here's the deciding moment. Was this all worth it?
Yeah. That is delicious.
That is wonderful. The pears are so soft. I love the consistency of the pears in this.
That whipped cream, oh my goodness, just right.
What a wonderful dessert. So we hope that you use your pears. You can just eat them plain, like I said, with cheese, paired with cheese. They're awesome, but this pear crisp is really good.
Delicious.
So enjoy.
Bye.